As you can see, the police is here. This property is 2 units and have been taxed double for years, but right now they are attempting to take both properties instead of one. How can I be taxed double for years? And suddenly you want to take my home, but you want the 2, not just 1. These are 2 separate properties. If the judge asks them to take 1, they take 1. But the judge did not specify whether 2701 or 2702, whether A or B. I'm standing my ground and I'm asking people to stand with me. This property belongs to me. September 30, 2021. And as I said, the document 30.
Oh, 30th.
Yes, 30th of September.
Okay, so
And
30th, 30
yes,
of September.
yes,
Okay.
when they came, they did not read any rights to me. They did not serve anything on me. They were coming one after the other. I would stay because I was so scared of their presence in my property because, as I said, I got no legal notice and I got nothing from the court saying they were coming for 455. Generally, the building is known as 457, but legally on land records, they are actually billed and taxed separately, which I have complained about for years because this is race motivated and just outrightly wrong. But if they've taxed it for years as 2 separate properties, they cannot now foreclose as one property. So I explained to them that these are 2 different properties, and the property they posted a notice on, which someone staying with me saw. I didn't see it. I was not served. I was not called for any reason. But somebody staying with me said he saw it pasted on 457, which is actually identified by postal as 457B, which is the property the attorney already took over even before going to court. But he lied in court that he took over the 2 units, which is wrong. Up till now, if you check online, you will see that 1 unit still bears my husband's name and the other bears, the name of the person who has now purchased it. But they came in, they wouldn't listen. I pleaded with them to go back to court and at least get the judge to specify which of the units. They refused. They battered me. They forced my keys out of my hands. They went to drive out my car from the garage. They pushed me out of the house. And immediately they started loading my things into a vehicle. I rushed to where I could get Wi-Fi so as to call the court. When I called the court told me to go and tell them to stop and that I should come to the court immediately. They did not stop. By the time I went to court and I was back, they had moved out everything. They had changed the locks. I have been homeless and sleeping in my vehicle.
Okay, can you give me your name, ma'am?
My name is OMO.
OMO, uh-huh.
LO.
Okay.
LA.
Okay, Omolola?
Yes, thank you so much. You called that well.
And your last name, please?
FAMUYIWA.
Okay.
This is not the first time I am.
Make sure I got this right. So the problem was that they went to your property. And you're saying they went to the wrong address based on what?
Yes, my property is on the land records as 455.
Okay.
On the land records as 455. The property already hijacked by the attorney is 457, And that is what was on the notice they showed from afar. Nobody served me. Nobody read rights to me, and every plea for them to understand that these are separately taxed and separately billed properties fell on deaf ear, and they did what they wanted to do. Right now, I'm having aches all over my body. I'm unwell. I just came into a friend's a place to take a shower and to be on my way to my doctor.
Okay. Can you just describe to me what exactly happened with the officers that you're saying you were battered, you said?
Yes. And I have an injury on my finger. Blood was coming out and they totally ignored that.
Okay. So what exactly, first of all, can you describe the officers? Do you know their names?
Yes. One had on his badge, Johnson. I think he called himself Patrolman Johnson. I can't tell if he was one of those who physically entered, but he was one of those who was trying to mediate and letting me understand that no matter what I say, they're going to get me out. And I kept explaining to him, this is not the property. This is, forget about the address on the number on the building. We had to do the number because this block actually is Fort Lee. The entire block is actually Fort Lee, but just 5 buildings are zoned for whatever reason as Inglewood. So because of that, there's another 457 up the block. So we had to differentiate with A and B rather than using 455, 457 because there is also another 455. So I explained, I showed tax documents that these are 2 separate properties. And what you've brought only has 457. I am physically in 455.
Okay. All right. And now, did you say that which officer, you said, did any officers touch you, you said?
Yeah, there were about 4 that just came in. I think they gained access through the basement because I refused to open my door once I saw that they wanted to eject me without any legal notice. So they went in commando style, whatever, through the basement, and they took hold of me. I was carrying my bag. They forced my bags out of my hand. They demanded forcefully, violently for the keys to the house. I wasn't going to give them any keys because they were not there lawfully. So they forced a bunch of keys, which was my car keys, off my hand in a bid to use them. Meanwhile, they already had a locksmith there. So why fight me to unlock the door? If I'm not giving you my keys, you have a locksmith there, you can unlock the door. I wasn't going to fight them, but I was just standing my ground because I knew that physically on land record, they were in 455, not 457.
Okay, let me ask you, did you record this incident? Do you have any video of it?
I have some, not all, because by the time they came in, I've had to close my laptop knowing that, it could fall or anything. But intermittently, off and on, I recorded quite some things. I've put some of them on YouTube, not everything. I plan to put the others. Because I did not have Wi-Fi, I could not immediately transmit. But there were witnesses from my church who were around.
Would it be possible for me to get copies of those videos?
Sure, if you give me your email. If it's too large for email, then I'll put the others too on YouTube and send you the link via email.
Well, because what I could do is I could send my detectives to meet you somewhere and they could take a thumb drive and you could just put it on a thumb drive.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Then I can put everything.
Okay. What's a good address where we can meet you?
There's this school called Anastasia. There's this school called Anastasia in Teaneck, or a church, a Catholic church. I could meet up with them there.
Okay, a church?
Yeah, Anastasia, it's on Teaneck Road. I don't know the full address. I know it's a Catholic church and there's a school. So either the school or the church. I could meet them there.
Right next to Route 4, right?
Yes, you got that.
Is there, are you there now? Is there something?
No. I'm just going to drive to the place. As I said, I came into a place just to try and brush my teeth and all that.
Okay, when can we meet you?
The time, by 11, even 10:45, I'm there.
Okay, 11 o'clock today?
Yeah, today, or 10:45, yeah.
Okay. Okay, because I could send my detectives to meet you there, okay? And
Sure.
they could get a copy of your videos?
Sure, 10:45 or 11 is perfect.
No, 10, okay.
Okay.
Is there a phone number we could call you? Or do you have a cell phone number? So once they're there, they could call you?
Yes, but this number I'm just using temporarily, but I can give you for this purpose.
No. This
Thank
is
you.
just so we could call you and let you know that we're there.
Okay, thank you, Officer Ruiz.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
I'm going to
this.
send somebody over there, okay?
Thank you. I'll be there soon. Bye. I'm walking to see the officers who are here.
Okay, so you can tell us what happened?
Okay, on the 1st of September, somebody staying with me said he saw bailiffs or officers or servants post something on our B unit. On our B unit, I stay in A unit. But really, these properties are legally documented as 455 and 457. So the B unit is 457. I rushed there to see the notice, it was no longer there. That is not.
What's that last sentence?
I rushed to the door.
There.
Yeah, when the man, Mr. Last, told me, he stays with me. So I rushed there to at least see the notice because these two properties were owned by my husband before one was foreclosed. So I rushed there was no notice. So I did not receive any service, any legal anything. On the 30th of September, officers arrived and initially they were on the visa. So I didn't bother myself about them. Later they said, oh, they are here to evict my property. And I said, no. Whatever was served on that unit. And that unit is actually 457, not 455. This unit is 455. Even though the building had 457, and that's because the property was purchased as one by my husband. But somehow, racially, it was split into two for whatever reason. Also, this street is Fort Lee. This block is Fort Lee. It's the same as Grandview Place, Fort Lee. Okay. But just 5 properties are zoned as Inglewood for whatever reason. I don't know. But I explained to them that these are actually separate properties, and though the sale was illegal.
Just for the record, what is the address, the full address we're talking about?
The full address is 455 and 457.
Street name?
Street name Grandview Place. No, Grandview Avenue. Inglewood, New Jersey. Okay. But it is the same street as Grandview Place, Fort Lee.
So it changes on the street.
Yes, it changes on the
So
street.
it goes from Grandview Avenue to Grandview Place.
Yes.
And that's Fort Lee.
Yes.
And
But there's no exit on our side.
Okay.
The only exit is through Fort Lee.
Gotcha. Okay.
You get that?
Okay.
So they arrived and they mentioned it, and I said, no, the place you have to eject is this side. That is 457. Nothing says 455 because they showed me the document like this. They didn't hand it over to me. So they showed it. I saw 457. I said, that's 457.
Okay.
This is 455. Before I knew what was happening, they were talking to some of my church members who were around, and they were coming back to tell me whether you like it or not, they're showing you out. And I showed them tax documents. I have it here to indicate that these are separate properties. We have been paying 2 taxes. We're losing this home because we couldn't continue to pay the tax.
Okay.
You're billing us double. We cannot take the house as one. And I was in possession of the deed that shows clearly 2702 was indicated, which is 1 unit. Now, let me provide this information. As far back as March last year, in spite of the moratorium by the state governor, the person who bought 1 unit already hijacked that unit and has been collecting rent since March without any legal process. He just went, harassed the tenant, and started collecting the rent. So if you're already collecting rent
since March 2020. Why go to the court to now ask to be given a property? Why he did that is he wanted both units, even though illegally bought one. So cut to the chase, because I would not open my door to let them in, they came in commando style through the basement. I was holding my bag. I wasn't fighting them. They took a hold of me. I presently have aches all over my body. I've called my doctor because I had a biopsy. I had a biopsy done just last week, and the hold is affecting my heart. So they had me in a hold, and they started demanding for my key. They already had the locksmith
So
there.
they handcuffed you, or they held your arm?
They held me like they were going to handcuff me, but they did not handcuff me. About 3 of them had their hands on me.
All
And
three
in the
of them?
process, you said?
All 3 of the officers?
Yes, about 3 of them. It wasn't just one that held
Was there any officers from other departments present?
From the sheriff. Once
Well,
that is
the
a
sheriff.
patrol man, I don't know if it's from the sheriff's office, because they escalated the matter to an emergency. So somebody came who identified himself as patrolman Johnson.
I'm sorry.
Johnson.
Okay.
He had his name.
Patrolman Johnson?
Yes, I think he introduced himself because, yeah. And this is the wound from there because they were trying to struggle the key, and I had blood, and they ignored that completely.
So you had a key in your hand?
I had my car keys in my hand. They thought it was my home key. They had a locksmith there. If you're coming to eject a home, you can break it and come in. I wasn't fighting you. But they were demanding this key, and they were trying to force it out of my hand, had me in a hold, And in the process, they had their hands all over me. I was just telling them, you're hurting me. You're hurting me. And they did not stop. They just said, where is your key? Where is your key? I did not give them the force my car keys out of my hand. They went to the garage. They drove out my vehicle. I told them my vehicle was in the garage and I'm going out to the basement. They said, no, you can't go out to the basement. You believe you're going to play games. They pushed me out of the door.
Physically pushed you out?
Yes. Physically pushed me out of the door to leave the property.
You were saying that you, who put your hands behind your back?
I don't know them.
No,
I mean,
no.
if you're standing your ground and you're in your property and people suddenly come into the basement, you're not expecting them to be
You
in.
describe which officer put.
I don't know, but I did some recordings before that. So you possibly can identify the difference, because what Officer Ruiz told me is that you get some of the recordings I've done. So I don't know if you're doing your own recording or getting some of the ones I've done, but the officers are in the recording I've done.
Are they doing anything, just so we know, are they doing anything wrong in those videos, or you just were recording for your own record?
I was recording for my record because they were on my property unlawfully.
So you don't have a recording of the incident?
No, because at that time I had already packed my bag, knowing they were coming to physically get me out.
Okay.
But there were witnesses, there were members from my church who were around at that time.
Gotcha.
So the property they came to eject is 457. The property they threw me out of is 455.
Now, the witnesses you had, they were there when police,
Yes.
when the sheriff's office
Yes.
first arrived?
Yes.
Do you have their information?
Yes, I did.
Do you have to look?
Because what I had done, knowing they were coming to seize the other property, I had planned a protest for that day. Because all these things they've been doing since my husband passed on is just to defraud me of all we own. This is the fourth property. They had ejected me from another one in Inglewood, in Edgewater before. Even that, they just locked me out. They didn't let me take anything from my own till today. I don't know where they took my things to.
Okay. So the church members were there for what? A protest?
They was, yes.
So you knew something was going to happen that day?
I knew they were coming to check the B unit.
Okay, so you saw the notice.
I did not see the notice. Don't forget I told you my tenant told me.
So your knowledge was word of mouth, your tenant.
Yes.
You said your tenant, right?
Actually, the person stays with me. I can't really call him a tenant because he
And
doesn't
they're
have
in
a
B,
legal.
or they're in the...
They're in A with me.
Okay.
They're in
Just
A
wanna
with me.
make sure we're all
So he
clear.
had told me,
Okay.
oh, there's a notice that they're coming to check. You understand? And
Yes.
I said, okay. And he said, is it our house or that? I said, well, if the patient it said it is that house. So, and on that day, an officer held it like this for me to see, and I saw it was 457.
Yeah.
I went back to get my charger because I'd left the charger for my laptop. They were saying to me that they had given the documents to my pastor. And I said to them, he doesn't have a legal right to take anything on my behalf. And I later called him. I said, whatever you've taken, return it to them because I was not legally served. My rights were not read to me. They just came on my property unlawfully and had been ejected. So they never physically gave me anything. But the others left before the altercation. I believe it was only Dominic Apollo that saw the incident.
All right, do you have a phone number for him?
Not right here, not right now. But that's the church address. You can look up the phone number online for the church address.
And what is Dominic's position with the church?
He's the pastor.
He's the pastor. Okay.
They were saying to me to just walk out, to leave, and I said, no, I'm going to stand my ground because they don't have the right document to take me out of my home. So that's the story.
So, our officers put your hands behind your back, they didn't handcuff you, and you, in your hand, had keys, and they tried to get the keys out of it.
Yes, I had my car keys.
Did they ask you for the keys?
They asked me for the house keys, and I just did not respond because I didn't have the house key on me.
Okay.
They later searched through the house and found the spare and opened the door.
Did they ultimately ask you for the keys that you had in your hand?
They dragged it out of my hands.
Did they ask you first for them?
They said, let me have your keys. And I said, no, these are not my house keys.
Okay, and then what officer tried to get the keys out of your hand?
One of them did. One of them or two of them did.
That was behind you, they took the keys out of your hand?
I can't really remember if they brought it out, if they were still dragging it there, but yeah, I can't really remember.
Now you mentioned Officer Johnson by name. What was his involvement? What did he do?
Okay, I guess when I refused to physically leave, they called for backup or whatever. So he said he was there, you understand, to explain to me initially. So he would stand, a little afar from me because I told them I was scared. I mean, all of you arriving, the B part or the 457, you're not even doing anything there, like you already had a relationship, not to touch that place. And now you're on me. And now you're on me. So I said, I'm scared. So he stayed afar off and was explaining to me. And he said, do you understand they want to eject you from your home? I said, I don't understand because this house is not what is on the document that I was shown from afar.
So Officer Johnson was explaining it to you.
Yes.
That's what his involvement was.
Yes. So he said, no matter what. I said, no, they need to go back to the court to clarify, to put the right address on the document. And then they need to formally serve this and give me the normal 30 days. I didn't pack anything. I didn't plan anything. Because even though I heard that something would happen, I expected it is for just one unit.
Gotcha.
So I kept saying, I said, well, they are here to carry out another and they're not going to go back to ask questions. But he had the recorder on because he kept telling me I'm also recording. And I was also recording at that point.
That was Officer Johnson was recording.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I also recorded when a female officer also, tried to come and talk to me. I have some of those recordings.
Okay. So other than placing your hands behind your back and taking the keys out of your hand.
And injuring me in the process.
Was there any other physical contact?
There was. Before people come into your home and they're trying to get you out, of course there was a lot of physical contact. But the camera will show that better because I didn't record that. But Dominic witnessed that. Rather than tell them to stop, he was more like telling me to leave peacefully. But the document you have is not for my home.
No, you have an injury on your finger.
Yes, I do. I mean, it looks small now, but there was blood, and I have papers that had blood on them in my.
You want to go over here?
Please, I didn't get your name, sir.
Detective Morfino.
Morfino?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a card on you?
Oh, yes, I'll give you.
Okay.
Yes,
I need to, sir.
Detective Howard Eason.
Okay.
And then they gave you paperwork?
No. I just want to show you there was one paper that had from the blood spill.
Were you offered medical attention?
No, none.
Did you want medical attention?
Of course, when you're bleeding, you don't need to ask for medical attention. They should know that.
Did you advise them that you were bleeding? Did they know?
Yes.
Yes. They knew you were bleeding?
Yes. Okay. Yes, they knew I was bleeding. This is the document I showed to them. Yes. This is yours from that day. So this was the document I was saying to them to let them know 455 is different from 457. Okay. But when I told them I would leave to the basement, when they were saying that I would leave to the basement so I can get into my car, I heard one of them saying I may end up playing games. You know, so after the first my key out of my hands, they went to drive out the car. They didn't have the right to drive my car.
This is 455 is where you are, right?
Yes,
Okay.
this is where I am physically at.
And then 457 is listed here. 457 is listed
Yes.
there. And then
Normally, when they want to send us letters, they just put 457. Because don't forget, it's one property. But somehow they split it into two and tax it as two. So when they want to write to us, they write to 457. But this has 455 and this has 457.
right, it's two.
Yes.
I
Yes.
see that. I don't know.
Yes.
Which one.
And I have a
Yes.
deed. Let me show you the deed as well. The
Right,
deed of
but-
the purchase.
You're delinquent on the taxes apparently? Is that what this is portraying?
Okay, if for years you're taxing us double
I'm just
one unit.
I'm just asking.
It went into foreclosure. I don't know why, because the case was still ongoing when they rushed to sell. So I really can't answer that question of why it was
Well,
foreclosed.
based on this, it's not foreclosure. They're just seizing the property for the taxes, right?
No, it's a
It's a
foreclosure
foreclosure as
on
well?
one unit, not the two units. Let me show you the deed of the purchase made.
Well, if you don't have the deed, I mean, it wouldn't be foreclosure, right?
Yeah, I have it. This is the deed for the one they purchased because, as I told you, they had unlawfully taken over the property. You understand? So the tenant sent me this on why she has to stop paying me, but there was no legal process.
Right.
So they had, and it shows 2702. That's just one unit. It's not the two.
Yeah, we're not like I'm not savvy
I
on,
know.
on the real
I know.
estate aspect.
But
of
when you
this,
check
so-
online now, one property still has my husband's name. The other property has whoever bought it. So they didn't obviously buy two. They bought one.
It's a two-family essentially.
Yes, it's
So
two
it's a what?
family, but they
So you're saying the town split it up? It's two connected
Yeah.
pieces, like a
so they
duplex.
documented it as one family home,
Gotcha.
one family home.
Now you were saying that you had informed Sergeant Ruiz that you had video footage.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
We can give you a thumb drive and we could put it on the thumb
That's not a
drive.
problem. That's
Or
not a
is it? Can you email it?
Is there anything else? I mean, we don't have to keep recording while we're downloading the video.
Right.
Is there anything else you would like to say?
Well, I've already said all I need to say. This was an assault. This was battery. This was unlawful trespassing on my property and unlawful ejectment. It should never have happened if the court and the sheriff office had done due diligence to describe the property they were coming into. And the property documented on the notice that I cited on that same day, because I was not legally served, said 457. 457 had already been hijacked unlawfully by David Kessler and all those representing him since March 2020.
Which is the building next to you.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So they didn't even enter that building.
They didn't.
So their paperwork's at 457, and
But
they
they-
went into you.
455. They never entered 457. They did not as much as knock. But when they posted their notice, they posted it on 457.